It began with a noise so faint and ordinary that it shouldn't have meant anything. Yet it froze the room in an instant. Forks paused halfway, conversations died mid-sentence. Not because the meal was finished, but because he had walked in. Her best friend, the one she constantly insisted was nothing more than family, slipped into the pre-wedding dinner like he owned a place there. His arrival wasn't expected, yet he carried himself with the boldness of someone who belonged. His eyes went straight to hers, and in that moment, her entire face shifted. She lit up, glowing in a way I hadn't seen in months, as if the whole gathering had been a waiting room until he stepped through the door. He came closer, laying his hand on her shoulder with casual familiarity, fingers resting as though the spot had been his all along. She leaned in, whispering low enough that it excluded me entirely, her words a private exchange I wasn't meant to catch. When she finally looked my way, her eyes were hard, almost cold. Her command was simple, delivered like an order. You're going to apologize to him. Now. No arguments. I stayed still, waiting for even the smallest hint that she might relent. She didn't. Not a blink, not a tremor. So I rose. Each step felt hollow, but my mind was still. When I reached him, I didn't extend a hand. My fist connected with his jaw in a sharp, final motion. Chairs scraped, gasps rang out, and he stumbled back, clutching his face in shock. "Oh, my mistake," I said flatly, brushing invisible dust from my knuckles. That was supposed to be a hug. I turned to her, met her stunned expression, and added evenly, "Sorry. The wedding's off." Then I walked out. That night wasn't the beginning. It was only the conclusion. 3 months earlier, I had discovered his hoodie tossed carelessly in her car. She laughed it off, said I was being jealous, paranoid. Weeks later, while she showered, her phone lit up with a preview. "Can't stop thinking about last night." I didn't unlock it. I didn't need to. Those words burned themselves into me, etching their weight deeper than any confrontation could. When she emerged, I smiled as though nothing had shifted, kissed her forehead, asked about dinner like routine. She reassured me again, he was just a friend. He'd even be seated in the front row of the wedding. I wanted to believe her. I tried to tell myself that trust meant giving her space, even when it scraped at my insides. But trust, I realized, was nothing more than handing someone the keys to the lock around your own throat. I started small, checking her location history, noting discrepancies between where she claimed to be and where her phone had actually gone. A girls' night that ended 40 minutes out of the way. A dinner bill charged to our account in a part of town she hadn't mentioned. I noticed the way her body leaned toward him in public, her laugh curling in his direction, the way his gaze lingered too long. I didn't confront her. I collected. I documented. I saved screenshots, receipts, timestamps. I noticed the scent of cologne on clothes that weren't mine. Deleted call logs. Hidden texts. One thread at a time, I built the rope of truth she couldn't untie. The Heartbreak came on a Thursday. A friend of mine, someone who owed me, managed to restore her phone backup. No edits, no deletions, no lies. I read every line, every emoji, every whispered "I miss you," every detail of their plans for after the wedding. The way they spoke of me, not as a man, but as an obstacle. Something to endure until the vows were spoken and the papers were signed. I printed the worst of it on plain sheets of paper, no commentary, no highlight. Just the evidence, bare and undeniable. That night, I slid the stack across the counter. She picked it up, eyes scanning slowly at first, then faster, the color draining from her face with every page. "Where did you?" she tried, but I said nothing. I let the silence gnaw at her as she realized her own words were the knife. By the time of the pre-wedding dinner, everything was in place. I'd made sure of it. An anonymous message, sent from her own phone, was enough to guarantee his arrival. She thought she was forcing me into submission when she demanded I apologize. She didn't realize she was standing inside the trap she had built herself. My punch wasn't an outburst. It was the closing line of months of quiet observation. It wasn't revenge. It was punctuation. A period at the end of every secret, every betrayal, every lie. When I canceled the wedding, I didn't raise my voice. I didn't explain. I let silence do the work. Silence was heavier than rage. It left her stranded, face to face with her guilt, without excuses to hide behind. That night, I went home and changed the locks. She called 12 times, left 3 voicemails. One furious, one begging, one broken. I ignored them all. I sat in the dim living room, listening to the clock tick as if the air itself had grown sharper. I felt no grief, no heartbreak, just clarity, absence. The wedding dress still hung in the bedroom, untouched, now nothing more than fabric. I had already walked away from the man who might have forgiven her. By dawn, I made coffee, sat by the door she no longer had a key to, and let myself smile. For the first time in months, maybe years, the future felt mine again.